have the right to move their children out of a failing school district. School choice has been debated for years, but the discussion is new again, thanks to a Senate bill introduced by one central Pennsylvania lawmaker. Let's spend 5 minutes on the topic with State Representative Stephen Bloom. Welcome.
Thanks, Lori.
Governor Corbett has come out in support of school choice, and in addition, there's Senate Bill 1, introduced by Jeff Piccolo from Dauphin County. It's getting quite a bit of attention. Can you tell us a little bit about that proposal?
Sure. Senate Bill 1 is, and it's sponsored by Jeff Piccolo and also by a Democratic Senator, Anthony Williams from Philadelphia. So it's a unique bill in that it's got conservative, Republican sponsorship and Democratic sponsorship. So it's the first time that we've seen this kind of a coalition form around the school choice issue in a tangible and possibly very influential way. The bill basically allows students who are trapped in a failing school to move schools so that the parents can choose a different school for them, even if those parents don't have the economic means to be able to pay private tuition at another institution. So it allows the kids to get out of a school that's failing them and go to a school where they can actually get an education that's going to prepare them for life and a productive economic life.
And how would you view the idea of school choice and vouchers?
I think the whole concept of school choice is something I agree with very strongly, in that the idea is to increase the amount of competition among schools based on educational outcomes. And the way the school choice mechanism would work is that the parents, the people who care the most about their children, would be able to choose which schools seem to be doing a better job, put their kids in those schools, and those schools would essentially be rewarded economically. The schools that aren't doing such a good job would be punished, and it would be an economic form of punishment, so they would have an incentive to improve. And it's been tried in a number of different scenarios and places, and it's typically has resulted in better educational outcomes in the end for the kids, which is really the point of all this. A lot of the smoke and fire and arguments you hear around this don't center so much around the kids, but around some of the established institutions like the teachers' unions and the administration of schools, where they're entrenched. They've got certain interests they're trying to protect, but it's not always the kids' interest that's being protected, and that's what this concept of school choice does. Gives the parents the freedom to choose schools that are going to be the best for their kids, and by doing that, improving the whole educational system so we get better outcomes for all the kids.
Well, that's one we're going to have to keep our eye on as it works.
Sure, it's going to continue to be talked about a lot, and as I said, it's an interesting scenario because for the first time we've got some of the most conservative legislators and some of the more liberal legislators all come together around an issue that is just so vitally important to the kids in Pennsylvania.
Let's turn to some other issues. You're on the Agriculture Committee. Recently there was a hearing where there was a lot of information there that might be of interest to your constituents.
Yeah, we had a great hearing. It was called Dairy 101, from the cow to the consumer, and it was all about the dairy industry in Pennsylvania, which obviously agriculture is Pennsylvania's #1 industry. Tons of jobs, and jobs are actually growing in that area, and dairy is the biggest component of our ag industry. So a key component of what's happening in Pennsylvania in terms of our economic sustainability and growth. What's exciting about the ag industry in general and in the dairy industry in particular that came out during these hearings is the technology that's being used. We sometimes think of farmers as being maybe behind the technology curve, but instead what we saw and heard is that farmers are using technology in all aspects of the dairy industry, from growing their crops, where they're using highly specialized computer programs to make sure they're not applying too much fertilizer, they're applying just the right amount of seed at just the right time, to the milking process, which is all now computerized, to taking care of their herds. And they emphasize how important it is to them to take good care of their animals and make sure that the animals have a healthy environment where they can thrive and be as productive as possible. So we've seen a lot of technology on the farm, but at the same time we're seeing farmers really struggling with mandates that are coming down from the state and federal level that are making it very difficult for them to do the farming operations they've traditionally done. Real problems with the EPA in particular, clamping down on farms and saying they've got to restrict the way their animals are taken care of in terms of the nutrient management situation, runoff into the streams, and the farmers have already done a great job with that, but now they're being pressured to do more, and sometimes it's not economically viable for them to do that.
Certainly agriculture is big in your district. Thanks for talking to us about it today.
Thank you, Lori.
And if you have comments or questions about this or any other legislative topic, Representative Bloom's contact information will be on the screen in a few seconds. I'm Laurie Bull. Thanks for spending 5 minutes with State Representative Stephen Bloom.